You're about to open a window into the life of a ghost hunter. We'll show you dark, creepy roads that fade into the night. We'll show you haunted places, but most importantly, we'll show you what happens along the way there. Hey everybody, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Linda.
And tonight we're venturing off into the darkness. And we are going to return to Old House Woods.
Yeah.
For the first time in a while. A little bit later on I'll share the story of Old House Woods. We'll talk about it, perhaps over dinner, maybe when we get there. I don't know, whenever the mood arises. But we got some gas. And we are heading out to one of our favorite stops up here in Gloucester.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna get some food.
Camp. Cookout.
Cookout. Right. We're not going camping.
No.
But cookout. The cookout in Gloucester is a good one.
Yes, it is. Really good.
And usually when we come up to Old House Woods, it's a place that we stop. Or whenever we're traveling through this area.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely excited about that.
Yeah. So, how long has it been since we've been to Old House Woods? It's been a long time.
I think it's been since about 2020, maybe
I think it's before that.
the spring of 2020.
Think so?
Mm-hmm. I think that's the last time we were up there. So it's been about 2.5 years.
Wasn't COVID around?
Yeah, it was just before that.
2020?
Just before COVID struck
Okay.
that we went up there. Or maybe it was in the midst of COVID. I'm not 100% sure. But it was around that time because we went with Will.
That's right. Yeah, because he was doing a little video out there.
Yep. So.
Yeah. Creepy place.
Definitely is. A lot of stories up there.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering.
The one thing I like about Cookout is they have all the Christian symbolism in there. With
They really do.
Deer cross. They're playing Christian music, which is neat.
Yes.
I think their other cups have the Bible verses on them still, but right now they have this cup that has the Cookout Southern 500 Arlington Raceway, established 1950. I think it's some kind of a giveaway that they're doing.
Yeah,
And
that's
you switched them out there, I saw.
yeah.
Is this the poison one?
No, that's the unsweet tea one.
Ah.
So gross.
So we have these things that we've never tried here before at Cookout. Not the fries, but behind them.
Yeah.
These cheese bites.
White cheddar cheese bites.
White cheddar cheese bites. So I guess they're a little different than the Wisconsin cheese bites.
Yeah, that's what I'm. They're probably about the same thing. You know, it's just Wisconsin cheese bite sounds good. You know, it's got.
Plus they have like the different cheese in them, I think. They have like the white cheese. This seems to have the yellow cheese.
No, I think these things have white cheese.
Do they?
Yep. They're white cheddar.
So you're going to take a bite out of one of those and give them a try? And
Mm-hmm.
what do you think? People are on the edge of their seat right now. There it goes.
Okay, yeah, that's really good.
So we're going to take a look at the inside. Oh man,
Ooh.
that's pretty good. It is like a mozzarella stick.
Yeah.
And the outside is kind of like a tater tot.
Yeah, it's kind of crunchy. Got a little bit of crunch to it.
That's good stuff. All right, so you went with the out west style burger.
Yes, and I usually do. It's loaded up with bacon and lots of pickles, onions, mayonnaise, You know, they give you a significant, I might have to turn it around. But see all
there
that
it is.
bacon?
Oh,
That's a
man,
lot of
look at
bacon on that thing.
That is a lot of bacon.
Yeah, and it is hot and fresh, and the buns are always nice and soft. They don't feel like they've been sitting out for a long time and getting stale. So, yeah, I'm really excited about it.
And then the cookout sauce, and look at those fries.
Yes.
It's covered with Cajun seasoning.
Yeah, I love the Cajun fries. That's one of my favorite things here. They really loaded it up with Cajun stuff this time, too.
So my burger, I got cookout style, which is what I always get. It's got some slaw on it. It's got some chili. And I add bacon. It's got some onions on there too. So it's somewhat healthy. It's got some vegetables on there and stuff like that. Just take a little bite.
Whoa.
That's a good burger.
That's an obnoxious bite.
So Old House Woods, it's a patch of woods out in Diggs, an area of Virginia known as Matthews, Virginia. And this place is the one place that I legit believe is haunted. Out of all the places I've been to, if you asked me, and people have before, they said, what do you think is the most haunted place? I really think it's Old House Woods because we've had so many experiences up there. Now, stories go back for years and years and years. It's named after an old house that used to sit up there, which was known as the Fanny Knight House. And this was a house that for some reason was consumed in flames one night and extinguished itself. And the house was apparently fine after that. And then years later, it eventually went up in flames again, unknown reasons, and burned to the ground. Now, the significance about this house, it was allegedly around this area, and some people believed it was in or around this house, that pirates had buried treasure. And then various legends, pirates were killed in a bar fight, never made it back for that treasure, but now their ghosts protect the land, and anyone that's getting close to that treasure reportedly has encountered these pirates, sometimes to the extent where these pirates had followed them back to their house and caused all kinds of problems. There's an elemental that's allegedly up there, a witch that is seen about the woods, and some people see her soaring about the treetops and stuff like that. Others have encountered her firsthand, face to face, and she also doesn't like anybody that's up there really tromping around or disrespecting the land at all for some reason. We don't know who this witch is or why she's there. Some people say she's an old woman that lived up there in the woods, perhaps Fanny Knight herself, and she became so one with the nature that she's now a part of it. She now moves about it freely. We don't know. There was a murder that took place up there, so there could be some spirits up there because of this murder. But I will say this is an active place. And it's the kind of place where, and there's few places I can say are like this, where as you're getting up there and getting closer to Old House Woods and you're coming around the bend in the road, you realize you might have made a mistake. You kind of think, all right, I just really want to turn back at this point. And you really look forward to, you think right now we're in the light here with cars going by on 17, we're sitting outside of a cookout, there's music playing, you can hear a band in the distance, a lot of people around. When you're at Old House Woods, the one thing you look forward to is getting back to a place like this where you can sit down, have a cup of coffee, and take your breath. Catch your breath. Whatever. But you can finally be at ease because the whole time you're up there at Old House Woods, there's not a moment where you're not tense. And that's what we're walking into tonight.
So we've been up to Old House Woods plenty of times before, and each time was kind of a little bit of a different experience. I know Jeff had also mentioned some things in the past about possible cryptid activity up there around the area. One guy supposedly saw something swinging from the trees or jumping from treetop to treetop. So we do have the possibility of that as well. All kinds of creatures live out in the marsh. There's probably more things living out there than people actually realize. But it's just a desolate area, and the road that you have to take to get down to the beach access is this narrow kind of gravel road with nothing but tall marsh grass on either side. So you're kind of blind. It's like you can't really make a good turnaround. If you get stuck down there, you're kind of screwed. So you have to get all the way to the end of the road before you can actually turn around, and then you have to come all the way back up the road again. So just kind of for safety reasons, not necessarily the best place in the world to go. We always take our guns when we come up here. And I think it's probably a good choice to have some sort of protection. Don't ever come down here when you're by yourself. That would just be nuts. Yeah, very creepy place, and I'm kind of looking forward to getting back there because it has been a very long time since we've been.
All right, so here we are. Oh, wait a minute. Did something change here?
No.
That's Knightwood Road.
Yeah, that's Knightwood.
Okay, so I thought we were there. We're a little further back than we were. And it's this corner up here that I'm thinking of. Like, once you get up to this corner, this is the point where you really start thinking, I should have turned around while I still had a chance.
Something running in the middle of the road?
That is something running in the middle of the road. And I'm going to guess that it is a hunting dog. Okay, because I will tell you stories about hunting dogs up here. And that's exactly what it is. It's a little hunting dog.
Oh, he looks scared.
Yeah, you don't know where he's going.
Is he a puppy?
He is, yeah. But for some reason, there's often hunting dogs up around here. And I remember one time there was a whole bunch of them. We were coming down here, and it was right about here. They came running up to the car, like hopping at the side, but they were coming from Old House Woods. The direction where he's going to, they were coming from that direction. And it was like they wanted to get in the car, like they were trying to get away from something. I don't know, it was kind of creepy. It might have just been, hey, they're greeting us, but it was strange.
Yeah.
That might have been the time we turned around. Was that time?
I think that was the time we turned around and decided not to go down there.
Yeah, there were too many bad signs that night.
Yeah.
And we'll touch on that later on. But continuing on to Old House Woods.
Let's go down and see if we need to get ourselves a beagle.
Okay, so here we are. This is Old House Woods Road.
This is where it gets creepy.
And Haven Beach Road. Right here. So this road, as Linda mentioned, it used to be gravel. And it no longer is. Some birds flying above the Bronco there. Or bats, I don't know. But as you came down this road right here, one of the trademarks of this place was an old house, the Captain Forrest house, that used to stand right around the corner, and it was literally like feet from the road. So you would come around the corner and you would see the side of this big white old late 1700s house just kind of looming over the road. And this house is where they tore it down because someone fell through the floor, and there's a whole lawsuit action or something, so we've been told. So they tore it down. But yeah, the house used to stand right here. You used to start being able to see it because it used to stand just around this bend there where that marker is. And you see those trees, that old gnarly tree, it was right there. And
it's so overgrown now you can't tell anything was ever there.
We'll go further down, but first I want to pull right here and show you something. So I've never shown this on video before, but now I'm going to. Okay, so we see this path right here. It says keep out private property, so we can't go any further down than this, but it's roped off right there. Okay, this is where we got out of the car, and it was a long drive up here from Hampton or wherever we came from. So I went over here to take a leak to the left, and meanwhile the two other guys that were with me, they said, hey, there's something down this path here. Now I noticed there used to be some more brush in the middle of the path, I thought, or something that has thrown us off. Maybe it's, if you probably can't see it on the camera, but beyond the rope there's to the left a bush that kind of sticks out onto the path, and that has thrown us off before when the headlights aren't on. It looks like a person standing down there. So I said, oh, it's just this bush that grows out in the road. But they insisted this thing was moving, so I came out here and looked down. The headlights weren't on in the car, and sure enough, it was a bright moon that night, and you could see this silhouetted figure pacing back and forth on this path. So we shined our flashlight on this thing, and there was nothing there. Turned the flashlight off, and this thing comes walking towards us, and as it gets closer, we can see the outline of a person walking with a purpose, arms swaying by his side, as he's, like I said, he's walking towards us with a purpose. Turn on the light again, this guy's gone. Turn off the light, here he is walking towards us. And he got closer. I don't know if you can see where the roped off part is, but where that reflective thing is on that tree, right there, he got about to there. And we did not see any person, just a silhouette. But you could see he was wearing one of those helmets like the settlers wore. At least that's the shape of his head, what it was in. So we hopped in the car because we weren't sure what this thing was. And sure enough, when we turned on the lights, there was nothing down this path. No other cars around or anything. So this was a interesting experience. And this little path where we're at is right across from where the old house used to stand. So we would park in here and get out and walk up to the house. Now another time, do you have a flashlight?
I do. I feel like
Let me see that
a
real
sitting
quick.
duck, though.
Yeah. Another time, there was a figure that this grass wasn't as high, and a figure stepped out from behind that tree while we were parked here. And we could see him, shined our light, there was no figure there. Took the light off, and he stepped out from behind that tree again. So I went around there, and the other people stayed here, and there was nothing behind that tree. So there's something about this area where this figure seems to manifest, right across from where the Captain Forrest house used to stand. There we got a little bit of a better view down this path. Okay, so coming down the road, like I said, right there's where the old house used to stand. Did you hear something?
Yeah, can we not stop?
Let's go down a little bit. All right, so we couldn't identify exactly what that noise was. It could have been some kind of a little critter out in the woods or something like that. But we didn't immediately leave. But we figured, because what's happening is I'm telling these stories and Linda's keeping a lookout, and it's probably better if we're both vigilant. So we're gonna go down here to where we have a little more space and a little more freedom to talk without having to constantly look over our shoulders.
Plus, as you can see, the marsh grass grows right up against the road. So there is no, visibility out here. You can't see something approaching you.
Right.
Something could jump right out of the marsh grass, and it would be on you, before you could blink.
That's right.
So that's what's creepy about it.
Yeah, and this is one place, Old House Woods is a place that I really don't mess around with. Because, like I said, I believe there's something to this place. There's a lot of places I go to and be like, it could be haunted, I didn't see anything, or we caught some interesting evidence. But this is one place that you just don't mess around here. So we're down here at the little beach access area. We're gonna get out and look around, look at the stars. It's a dark night. There's a sliver of a crescent moon that's up there in the sky, and that's gonna make for very low light pollution. And the stars are a million out here. There's a couple other cars parked in the parking lot. We didn't see people in the cars, so they're either out at the beach or looking for some scary stuff. Could be a number of things. But what I wanted to say about that area where I stopped at, where we heard the noise, off to the side where the noise came from, there's actually a little ditch, and sometimes it gets full of water. And this is where there were some dogs, like the hounds that we saw out on the road, a little bigger, and they were coming up from this area. They were running up Haven Beach Road, and there were a few stragglers behind, and something dark came across that road and right into one of those dogs. The dog yelped. I heard it go trampling through the little ditch, the water in the ditch, and I'm pretty sure it took that dog with it, because when I shine my light back, I didn't see that dog anywhere. And whatever it was, I couldn't illuminate with my light. It was dark because I see them coming up, and we realized they were dogs. It was a full moon. I know that because that's one of the reasons we came up here that night. Just to see, because this is a place we would test time and time again. But this thing, as it came across the road, it was just a silhouetted creature. And it was on 4 legs, whatever it was. And it took this dog, and I could see the color of the dog and stuff like that. But this thing, I couldn't see any color, and it was just dark and was gone. So a couple of cars rolling down here. But to give you an idea, I'm gonna turn out this light, and literally this is how dark it is. Like, I can see some scraggly trees. I'll describe it because the camera's not going to capture it. But I can see some dead trees just reaching up out of the marsh. And over to the right, there's very tall trees that come up. And they're just kind of, like I said, reaching up above this marsh grass, silhouetted by the dim light of the night sky and the light that kind of goes across the horizon. Okay, looks like we got a little visitor out here. Kind of a cute little guy just sitting there. He's wondering what's going on, and I'm wondering like what this guy sees at night out here at Old House Woods. Must be quite a time. So you can hear how there's so many frogs out here. All the wildlife. One night, we were walking down Haven Beach Road, and all of that, it was like this, it was a June night, it got silent. Now this was the same night that whatever that creature was came across the road and swooped up one of those dogs. But just when it fell silent, the guy I was with saw some kind of a creature jump from one of those treetops to the next, way up at the top. And then shortly after that, all the wildlife sounded again, like somebody turning on a switch. So this is one of those nights where a lot of times you'll see ghost hunters take a bunch of equipment out to a place to try to catch evidence of the paranormal. We didn't bring anything. This is one of those places where we just came to fully experience with our eyes, with our ears, with our senses. And when you put away the equipment sometimes, your senses are heightened. There's nothing to distract you. There's nothing to capture your attention. You can look out beyond the equipment into the darkness, perhaps see with your own eyes what's looking back. So there's some kind of a odd sound coming from over here. And we heard some rustling in here, which could have been an animal. Nothing emerged. But I'm not talking about that frog sound. Almost sounds like there's some voices out there, and there are some voices to our left as people are, I guess, getting ready to go fishing. But this is coming from a different direction. Must be more people out there. That's what it sounds like. Yeah, it sounds like there's people, because through there is the beach kind of curves around.
Oh, okay.
So it sounds like there's perhaps already people out at the beach.
Down there, yeah.
Yeah. But any stray voice you hear out here, you kind of got to investigate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And look, beyond the flashlight's beam, doesn't extend very far in this kind of darkness. Okay, so we got our little camp set up here. We got a citronella candle going, right?
Yep.
And we've got some light here.
We do. Yep.
From this lantern. And a lot of people don't realize it, that you can actually fill these lanterns with tiki torch fuel. And that's what I filled this with. I have it filled with citronella fuel. So you don't have to use lamp oil, because the citronella will work fine and perhaps keep the bugs away. So we're sitting here at the beach access area. People just left. Some of them are out there fishing.
Yeah.
But perhaps were dropped off and left. So it's gotten very quiet. And we're doing kind of a stakeout, where we're just sitting here. We got the lantern, we got the citronella candle going, and we're listening. We're looking up this road to see what comes down. And a good idea, we have our backs against the Bronco, as you can kind of see by the lantern light here. This is a good idea. because nothing can come up from behind us. Like if you're sitting in a place like this, even when you're sitting in the car and there's no one down here and you're watching that road, you have this constant feeling like something is coming up behind you.
Yeah, especially here.
Yes, this is
Especially
exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You remember that one time we were sitting there, you kind of want to lean in and talk about that.
Yeah, so I think we were in your Ranger, right? We were in your
Yes.
pickup truck.
Mm-hmm.
And we were coming down here and just kind of doing the same thing, is sitting down here, hanging out, relaxing a little bit, watching the surroundings. And it was just this constant feeling like there was something coming up behind you. And I kept having to turn and look over my shoulder and look out the back of the truck and everything, because you just had this uncanny feeling that there was something back there that might approach the back of the truck. And it's creepy. It's a creepy feeling when you feel like you're kind of, just sitting there and something can come up on you at any moment. And that's a little bit like it is right now. But fortunately, we have the Bronco behind us, so we feel a little better protected.
Right. I have this, we're a little thirsty. We didn't come prepared for the stakeout, but I have this Sheets Pop Black Cherry. It's been in the Bronco since last Sunday, so almost a week, and it is opened. But I'm about to open it up, and I have a theory that sheets can never be bad, even if it's week-old soda that's been opened in the back of a Bronco. So as we kind of come down here near the lantern light, let's see if it's still got that fizz. Oh yeah.
That doesn't mean it's still carbonated.
It might just mean that it was too hot in the car and it boiled, and
Yeah.
but here we go. Let's see what happens here.
You gonna die.
Oh, it actually kept its flavor and carbonation.
Did it?
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for a soda to open up and that won't lose its fizz right away, Sheets Pop. And I have to say this is some good stuff, because a lot of black cherry soda, it's hard to master that flavor. It usually, from my experience, a lot of them, the ones that I've tasted, have had a bad aftertaste. No aftertaste with this. It's all good.
Doesn't taste like plastic?
No, and it's not too hot either.
Really?
Not too hot.
That's
Nope.
surprising.
I would even venture to say that this is the first time a Sheets product has been brought into Old House Woods. Like, Old House Woods has never seen. It's seen some crazy things, but perhaps this is the craziest. Sheets Pop. And we're not sponsored by Sheets by any means. People ask that all the time.
We should be.
We should be. If they'd like to sponsor us, we would like that, because we like Sheets. So the products that we talk about and we tell you stuff is good, it's really because we like it. We only endorse stuff that we really like. We don't endorse stuff because anyone gives us any kinds of stipends. Is that the word?
Yeah.
A stipend.
I know that, yeah.
Stipend.
Stipend.
There it is. Long I. Okay, so what we're looking at right now, and I'm going to put a series of pictures up here that Linda is currently taking. And Linda, just keep snapping pictures. I'm going to type them into this video here. But there's some kind of a light that just appeared between these trees that extend from the marsh. And at first I thought it was a plane. I thought it was going to, it was just our perspective because it's beyond the trees. But it's actually not moving up.
Yeah, it's not gaining altitude.
No.
What it does look like it's doing, and I can't decide if it's actually doing it or not, is looks like it's kind of bobbing back and forth. And I'm still thinking it could possibly be a plane, because you know how sometimes they come straight at you, and all you see is like the light on the very front of the plane, and it looks really bright.
Okay.
But damn if this thing doesn't look like it's just like it's on a string or like a pendulum or something effect.
And it almost looks like it's flickering.
Yes, it does.
It looks like it's flickering like a candle, like a giant candle. But I'll tell you what, one way, kind of a trick to see if it is actually bobbing back and forth or not, is close one eye and look at it. Because with two eyes open, it can often have that effect. I don't know the whole science behind it, but sometimes when you look at a light that's really still with two eyes, it'll look like it's bobbing back and forth.
Yeah.
But this thing just went behind the tree. Because I was standing here
It
with one eye
did.
closed and it went behind the tree.
It might have gained a little bit of altitude too.
I'll take a few more pictures of it.
I don't know how good of a picture I'm getting. I got it in night mode.
If you at least we can see the trees through there, we can kind of gauge where it is in the other pictures and see if it's moved at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's showing up in there.
It's such a weird anomaly. I mean, if this was a plane, I feel like, because we've seen several planes. In fact, there's a plane to the left.
Yeah.
And that plane to the left, it's a
It's
quick
gone.
blinking light. No, it went behind the tree. Because I can see it if you move over to this side. So see,
Yep,
it is
sure
moving.
did.
It is moving, and it's moved behind that tree a couple times as I stood here watching it. So it's definitely, from my perspective, it
It's
looks like it's
moving.
moving back and forth, not up and down. Because it hasn't gotten any higher at the level it is with the trees from what I've seen here.
It's gotten it like from where we first started out. It's gotten just slightly higher because it was right down, nestled up against the lower tree line there. So it's gained a little bit, but what the hell is that? Like, what would stay at that altitude and be that bright?
It's just woods. And it wasn't there before.
No.
Oh, there it's down. Look at that. That was a big move there. There it goes. It's turning into two lights. Wow, get another picture. No, that was my eyes.
Yeah.
But it's definitely changed. It's turned into a red light. And it's moving fast now. Get one more
gotta
picture
be
if
an
you can while it's
airplane.
going.
It's got to be an airplane.
What did it just come straight at us and turn?
Yep.
I guess that's possible.
That's exactly what it did. It was coming straight at us and then it just turned.
Oh. Well, that's anticlimactic. So one thing I have to mention is there have been reports of UFOs up here at Old House Woods. There was one gentleman I talked to years back of this football-shaped object that he saw in the sky. And he saw it along the road in Gloucester. And then I believe he saw it, the next time he saw it, it was over the beach at Old House Woods here. Now there was another gentleman, and this is coming from them. He said he was out here at Old House Woods, up near where the old house used to stand, the Captain Forrest house, not the house Old House Woods is named after. But he was across the street from that, kind of where we saw that shadow figure. And he was playing a sound that was picked up, that they believed was a UFO. It was picked up somewhere in Ohio or something like that. And he was broadcasting this from a tablet through a radio, like a two-way radio. And he said something came out of the sky, and the best way he could describe it was like a cloaked ship. If you've ever seen Star Trek, when a ship is in the process of decloaking, you can kind of see the outline of the ship, but you can still see the stars through it. So it was kind of like that, where they saw the outline of this thing in the sky. And when he went back home, he found out that he had like a really bad sunburn, is how he described it, that he got in the middle of the night at Old House Woods. So whatever this thing was, it was giving off some kind of radio action or something like that that caused for this sunburn. So Old House Woods, plethora of paranormal activity, cryptids, UFOs, ghosts. I mean, this is quite a place.
Yes.
And we're just hanging out here in some camping chairs, looking into the night sky, taking pictures of airplanes.
One thing I've got to mention is the abundance of shooting stars out here. You know, there's no light pollution out here. It's Matthews County, and you're out in the middle of nowhere. There's really not a whole lot of cities nearby to cast a glow into the sky. So you just see this, like, huge abundance of stars out here. And as we've been sitting here, we've seen probably at least 10 or 12 shooting stars already. And but the thing is that I heard somewhere that all the shooting stars will go across the sky in one direction. Like they'll come from one side of the sky and shoot the other. And the majority of them have actually done that. But there have been a couple there was one that looked red just a few minutes ago, and it went perpendicular to the flight path of the other ones that we've been seeing. And then there was another one that looked like this bright ball of white light that came down out of the sky going the completely opposite direction of the other ones. And that one, you could only see it for just a short period of time. It was like it just appeared and then all of a sudden, was falling and just gone. So really kind of strange. And I'm going to have to kind of look that up, I think, do a little research and find out why some of these shooting stars seem to be going the opposite direction of the way they should be going.
We packed up our stuff and we're heading back down Haven Beach Road out of Old House Woods. And I have to say, it was really an awesome time sitting there. Once we got the lantern out and the little candle lit, put on some bug spray, it was very comfortable. There were so many stars to see. I mean, the stars were just amazing. But still, the whole time you're sitting there, you have sort of an uneasy feeling. You're constantly looking over your shoulder. Every once in a while, there's a noise in the marsh grass, and of course there's a lot of wildlife out here. Nope, gotta watch out for that frog there. A lot of wildlife out there, so most likely attributed to that, of course, but still, just given the stories of this place and the past history, the past experiences, your head is constantly on a swivel, so you can never really get settled in and comfortable, kind of like you can at a campsite or something like that, you know? But it's a stretch of road like this where you just expect any minute something to step out in front of you. And it's a narrow road. Whatever steps out in front of you, this is the only way out. There's no other way. So you got that factor to take into account. But we're gonna head up out of Old House Woods now. We've been here for a couple hours and it was really cool. Like I said, just doing that stakeout. We're gonna head out of the woods and go find some coffee. So we're here at the 7-Eleven at Cobb's Creek without a paddle. And we're gonna go in here and get some coffee.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, and this 7-Eleven, it's got a little bit of history to it. When Paranormal Pit Stops was like brand new, this was one of the first places we stopped at, was this very 7-Eleven.
That's right.
We got some chocolate donuts.
Yes.
And we reviewed them.
Yep, I remember that.
It was like 7 years ago or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But coffee time. Speaking of donuts, look at these things right here. Oh man, the Boston cream.
Those jumbo twists are good too.
Sprinkles, jumbo twists, just glazing, shining, sparkling, I could say. 7-Eleven breakfast blend, OG to go. I always gotta browse around and see what kind of products they have, because sometimes each 7-Eleven has its own unique stuff.
Yeah, they have some cool hats and stuff usually too. Camouflage boonie hat.
Yeah, like a vented boonie hat.
Yeah.
And there's like a skull cap with skulls on it.
Yep.
I think I could probably rock that out.
And then you've got the straw hats and stuff for the summer.
And it's
you know.
very Hawaiian on the bottom
Yes,
of it.
it is.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Got some American flag hats. So not a bad selection.
Nope, not at all.
I can't say I've seen a 7-Eleven that sold fishing poles before though. So perusing the candy selection, you're going with the Mounds.
I think so. Yeah, I don't like the Almond Joys because they have like the single almond on top of the little tiny ones, and I don't know, it's just weird.
Almond Joy's got nuts, Mounds don't.
Right, and I don't like. I like almonds. I just don't like them on my candy. You know what I mean? So, Mounds is pretty good.
Yep. And I think I'm gonna go for the Mr. Good Bar down there.
Oh, Mr. Good Bar.
Yeah, staying with the Hershey's theme.
That's a good idea.
So, Old House Woods. To kind of give you a perspective on this place, 2009 was the first time I went up to Old House Woods. And we made it kind of a regular place that we would go back to week after week. Been there in the summer and the winter, all times of the year, rain, shine, you name it, daytime, nighttime. And it was cool doing this because it was a place that we could kind of test out different things. Like, does the atmosphere, does the weather impact the paranormal activity? And this place kind of answered the question that no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
At least not there, because we've had experiences in the dead of winter and in the heat of summer.
Yes.
So it's a place that, like I said, went back to time and time again. And still, even all the time we spent up there, it's still an uncomfortable place.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, it really is.
As cozy as it was sitting there by the glow of the candle and the lantern and
Yeah.
a million stars in the sky.
Yeah. It's still creepy.
How would you describe the feeling when you're out there at Old House Woods?
I don't know. Like being watched? Really? Like the entire time. No, doesn't matter whether you're driving down the road. It just has this feeling like somebody's sitting there watching you the entire time. And I guess that's what's a little bit creepy about it, is that feeling like something's staring at you.
Yeah.
And, you know, even sitting there by the truck, I was taking my flashlight and I would turn it on every so often, shine it up the road, just to make sure that nothing was creeping up on us, you know?
Nothing creeping out of the shadows.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. It's one of those places, because a lot of the places we go to, we hear the reports of paranormal activity.
Mm-hmm.
And we take into account the factor that people could be mistaken natural elements for
Right.
paranormal activity, and
Yeah.
you know, a number of things, as we haven't experienced it ourselves. But
Mhm.
Old House Woods is one where we've experienced the activity, and having experienced it, we know it's out there.
Yeah.
And we know at times, I mean, I remember one guy getting scratched out there. Do you remember that?
No, I don't. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah, it was down in that parking lot where we were
Yeah,
parked.
we had a group of people with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the one guy got scratched, and he dipped out. He
Yeah,
said, that's it,
he
I'm going
left.
home.
Yeah.
He left. He was
Yeah.
done. So a lot of people have not braved Old House Woods for very long.
No, that's true.
And those that have, a lot of them can tell you, it's not like some of those places that they'll say, oh, there's nothing out there.
Yeah.
I've heard people say that about Old House Woods. But the people that I've heard say it about Old House Woods were people that have been there during the day, have never really gone out to experience it at
Yeah.
night. Now, I'm sure, like tonight, nothing paranormal really happened.
No.
And honestly, it's been that way the past couple times I've been up there, Matt. It's been a couple years.
Yeah.
But the past couple times I've been up there since the house has been torn down. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but
It does seem quieter.
we
out
haven't
there,
had the
calm.
experiences that we've
Yeah.
had. But I've talked to people that have. I've even talked to people that have had the time lapse, where they took some trail into the woods. I don't know what path it is, but they went into the woods. Hours went by. It seemed like minutes for them, and they came out and it was hours later. And that's a common report for Old House Woods.
Yeah. A lot of strange things up there.
Absolutely. But we're going to get back on the road, head home, call it a night. I want to thank you all for joining us. And before we go, there's only one thing left to do.